Okay, so it's 4 p.m. Welcome everyone to this webinar about APF-R and the method for sharpening, which is also used by the Hubble Space Telescope. We have here in the discussion Christoph, who is the inventor of astrophotography, Sebastian, who is an award-winning astrophotographer, and Tom, who made his own app and CRM for astrophotography. Yeah, maybe I give you first of all a little bit deeper introduction into the persons who are sitting here on the table, and then we can look into APF-R, talk about APF-R, and look into the plugin and the details, how to apply APF-R, and also not apply it only for astrophotography. In the end, we will show, or Christoph will show, how to apply it also for daylight images. Yeah, maybe let's start with Christoph. Or maybe we start with me. I'm the CEO of Picture Instruments. We are developing image editing software for product photography, also creative editing software and video plugins. And we have a development partnership with Adobe for more than 10 years. And since Christoph is also, we are meeting some guys from Adobe frequently. Ingo from Adobe finally brought us together and said, hey, I know Christoph made this very complex method for sharpening, and I know, Robin, you are doing plugins to simplify these complex methods. Why don't you sit together and make a plugin together? And finally, exactly that's what's happened. Yeah, so Christoph, maybe tell us a little bit more about you and your idea about APF-R. How did you got the idea to do something, such a complex method for sharpening in Photoshop?
Okay, it was around the year 2010, 2011, when I was thinking about sharpening. I was working with smaller optics and want to increase resolution, and found that the sharpening methods weren't as precise as I want, creating artifacts and noise and all the other things. And it takes us some time to develop the APF-R, and I'm the founder of the SETI conference, the father of the SETI conference in Europe, and a lot of people join around the world. In 2015 and 2017, at the SETI conference, I presented the first APF-R. R means reduction, the absolute point of focus on R reduction. And APF-R is using more than 15 layers minimum up to 18 layers for sharpening. And after I created the procedure, it was a funny moment that I sent it to the Hubble Space Telescope team and have a look, and just looking what's happening. And it takes a year, and it was really a year later. Then I got an email. We use it, and we are publishing now the first result with and without APF-R, and show this to the people. And it was really surprising. And then I got a meeting at Munich, at Garching, with the team. And Robin, you know that we get some requests from the Hubble team to increase the blur radius up to 10 pixels and so on. And it was the last 1.5 years I got contact, of course, also with the James Webb team. And they said they use APF-R also for James Webb data, but only with about 30 to 40%. And APF-R is working different with the data. And I know Sebastian will tell more about this, about brighter surfaces and structures. So yes, I will show you a little walkthrough to APF-R later.
Even if it's only 40% of the images, this must feel very good if a method which you invented so many years ago is still up to date and used. Yeah, this is something maybe we can talk about also later in the webinar. Yeah, maybe Tom, you can tell a little bit about you and your Picastro app. You made an app for where people can
Yeah, sure.
showcase images.
Yeah. So So my background is design and branding. I've run my own business for 21 years, maybe-ish. Some grey hairs up here. Um,
Mhm.
but in 2024, um, I struggled with regular social media platforms because they're inherently filled with bots and spam and fake accounts and images. I mean, we take as astrophotographers many hours of data and stack it and all that kind of good stuff, only for regular social media platforms to compress the data, and it just looks really rubbish. Um, I know there's a few competitors out there like Astrobin, for example, but that's a website, and I wanted to develop a native app for Android and iOS to allow astrophotographers to share their high resolution images without that compression, zero compression. At the moment, we can share up to 9,000 by 8,000 pixels, about 120 megabytes maximum image size, 72 megapixel maximum image size. So it's pretty big, given that most people view them on a tablet. Certainly on Picastro, view them on a tablet and a mobile phone. And it's great. I love doing the project. I have a small team that I work with. I've just recently taken on Picastro's first CTO, so the business is growing. The app's a great place to be. Um, I love it. I use it all the time. Obviously, it's my app. I developed it, but I use it
That
all the
sounds
time.
like a lot of data you are collecting there with 100 up to 120 megabyte, but it also guarantees that people, if they are caring about all detail and sharpening and using APF-R, that you can also finally see it. Of course, there is a need for social media platforms with a big audience or big reach, like the normal ones, but for specialized people who only care about Astro, your app is the way to go.
Ab-
And yes, and
Absolutely.
furthermore, you launched the Messier Planner.
Yeah.
What is this?
So I get distracted with things really easily, and I struggle to keep notes and keep track of all uh, my imaging sessions. So I started to write things down, and I just lost the bits of paper all the time. So I then created this. I actually created it for myself to store and log all the sessions that I took with number of subframes, number of all that kind of good stuff. It's a really visual way to track and log progress in astrophotography. But then it grew arms and legs really quickly, and now there's not just the Messier objects in there. There's 72,000 objects that people can search for, log, plan, find out information on, track it on a kind of calendar thing. So it's a very visual approach to tracking and logging your progress in
Mhm.
astrophotography. You've rightly described it as a CRM for astro, so that's kind of how I'm pitching it. And it's messierplanner.co.uk. And already in the last few months since it launched, there's around almost 1,000 people using it. So it's like, okay, people like this. So I'm constantly evolving it and constantly making it better and faster and smoother. It also works on a mobile device, but it's primarily to be used on a desktop, and people like it, which is great.
Okay, so you bring people, data, images, and everything together so people can share, talk about it, evaluate.
Yeah,
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 right.
yeah, yeah. And these platforms are really great for um, regular social media is fine if you're into gaining followers and big reach and all that kind of stuff. But these platforms are just inherently filled with bots and fake accounts. And yeah, Picastro has none of that at all. It's very focused on making it community based as opposed to chasing likes and follows, which the community loves.
How's your relationship to APF-R? When did you use APF-R for the first time?
I love it. I love it. I met Christoph through Hella Sky actually, but Christoph then started to talk to me around the APFR, showed me some samples of it, and I was quite reluctant to use it because I'm a heavy PixInsight user. Although sometimes when I take my images from PixInsight, I try to kind of finish them off and finesse them a little bit in Photoshop. And then when Christoph introduced me to APF-R, I was like, wow, this is just insane. I just love it. I love the fact that it does not use AI. I love the fact that it's purely almost a kind of mechanical process within Photoshop. And it even makes my images look better, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and I think AI is a big topic today because it's
Yeah,
growing so fast and everybody talks about AI and uses AI. But I
yeah,
think we here sitting together see that there is a field for AI, but there's also a field without AI. And yeah, I think Sebastian, who is also a state winner and national finalist of the Youth Research Science Competition, with a project on astrophotography for comet discovery, and he also in 2015 he won the Inside Astronomy Photographer of the Year in the robotic scope category. And 2015 was also a year talking about social media and image sharing. 2015 was also a year where you started your Instagram channel. Now you have 168,000 followers there, but I assume it does not start it with 168,000. So when it really started, and was it organically linear growing, or was there one breakthrough? Or how did you made it?
Yeah, I mean, it starts slowly, but in 2022, that was really strange because I posted an image of a spacewalk of the ISS with Matthias Maurer and Raja Chari, these two astronauts. And I made a video reel, and that was so strange to see it because this reel um, 45,000 followers, new followers. That was so strange. And then, yeah, that worked. That was the hit of my account
In which year was it?
in 2022.
22. Okay, so you started in
Very slowly,
2015, and in
yeah.
years you made how many
And
followers?
then
10,000?
6,000, 10,000, and then just before, I think 40,000 in 2021, and then it exploded. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Just with one video or one well, maybe Christoph, I think you have it on your screen. Maybe you can
Yeah.
show us the image so we can see.
Can you allow to share my screen, please?
Yes, I think I have to make you to a co-host so you're able to share
Yeah,
this.
this is a ground-based photography. I used my C11 HHD telescope, and here you can see the ISS passing my region with Raja Shari and Matthias Maurer, just little dots on it. But yeah, for this I used also APF-R, this plugin, and there it was impressive how to reveal all these structures in the shadows and also in the bright areas. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to shape out the astronauts so people could see them better and sharper. Yeah, Christoph, maybe you want to tell us a little bit how APF-R works or shapes out the structures on an example of an astrophoto.
Okay, yeah, just go to Photoshop. This is I prepared this data. It's shot with a Rasa, the big one, the 14-inch, and a color camera. It's famous. It's from the Burger Galaxy and the Leo triplet. Here, it's seeing was quite good. And now I open the plugin. And the first point that it's important, you have to zoom into 200% is the best situation. And you can click here, preview. Now APF-R starts to blur the image because APF-R is working like an onion. It's removing layer by layer to get the data out. So this is the unblurred image, the original image, and you should see the blurring very, very soft, not too hard. Then you go through to fine or extra fine. Fine means APF-R is calculating 5 layers for median,
You mentioned
bright
at
and
the beginning
shadowy.
of the conversation that James Webb asked us to make a blur radius of 10. Can you crank it up to 10 so you see it does not make
That was
sense for normal photos?
the Hubble team asked for 10.
Yeah,
The
but
Hubble team asked for 10 pixels of the oversampling of the Hubble Space Telescope.
if you move the slider to 10 now, can you make it so people can see that 10 does not make any sense? So
No,
everything
it's too
is
much.
totally blurry. The goal is that you see the blur only a little bit.
A little soft, yeah.
Yeah, you just recognize it, but it's for small cameras, smaller sensors with less information in the image. You need a smaller radius. Is this correct?
It depends on the quality of the scene of the night. Sebastian said, okay, if the quality of the night, of the air, of the condition is good, you have a smaller radius. If you have a blurry night, you have a larger scale of the blurring that it's visible before and after. And this should be very soft. This needs some experience to work with. And then choose fine. This is the normal one. Extra fine means for smaller details and more layers. I start with fine, press your sharpening, and that's everything. So APF-R is now calculating 5 layers for the first median stack, 5 layers for bright and for the highlights and the shadows. Sorry, this means 15 layers are combined now and press through the original median layer. So APF-R is removing every other artifacts with this process. And the difference is it's not AI based. It's really that what is necessary in science, that you can go through every step and see what's happening. So APF-R, it's done. So it looks very.
Before we made the plugin, how long did it take to make all the layers by hand?
It takes a long because you have to calculate and subtract each layer from the original, get to the next, the blur, subtract the blur,
about
subtract
20 or 30 minutes.
Yes, like around this. So then you have different image fittings. Photoshop, this is the original one. In this state, Photoshop didn't calculate anything to the histogram. APF-R is 1.0 is the original one. You can harder shadows, softer shadows, harder light, midtones. I choose APF-R 1.0. Then you have different rendering modes. I go here quickly. This is 1. 2, make it very hard. So if you have a weaker structure or wider structure, you get it like this. Or this one, you can see there's a noise behind. Of course, there's some structure. But there's a trick to always Photoshop. You have a lot of tricks, so you can choose this. What I do now is that I say, okay, convert it into a smart object, nothing else. So I can check it before, after. And then I said, convert it into a smart object. And after this, you have always all layers inside you can look at, and you can see in the layer name, the radius, the mode, which fitting and which rendering mode you used for. And you can easily, and that's a point with Photoshop, you can easily double click here on the layer styles, then change the mix mode to subtracting, so that's black. And then you have here the light, the black slider. I'm moving it a little bit so that I can see there's the background is coming. So when the background is getting brighter, it's not APF-R sharpened, so there's no sharpening used for. And then I hit the Alt key for a small fading, and then I can optimize this a little bit so that there's no noise in the back, only sharpening to the structure. And I go back to normal and said, okay. And this is now the difference. So this is without APF-R, and this is with APF-R. So it's really moving or bring out the structure that's inside the image. And this is working. And if you go down to the other galaxies, I just plug here in. There's also a point of this galaxy before and after. And if you have a too big radius of the blurring, you get an over-sharpened image. So it's very soft because you start only with small, the blurred information and remove it. The next layer go a next higher and remove it. And then it's combined to the final image. So APF-R is really precise and it's not destroying anything. So back again, before APF-R and after APF-R. It's pushing out the structure, the details, the small dynamics inside the image. Okay, so far.
Okay, maybe before now we started with an astrophotography. Before coming to the daylight image, maybe we can look at something in the middle. I think Sebastian has also posted a photo of the corona there.
Yes.
Yeah. This one, this is why is it from the technical perspective, why it's a mixture of daylight and astro. It's not some small stars, but it's also not everything daylight. Maybe Sebastian can tell a little bit about how he processed it with APF-R and what details he paid attention to.
Yeah, I like using APF-R also for solar eclipse images like this one. Especially for the corona because of the high dynamics. And it really works good for this because there are some very small structures and also in the shadows and in the very bright areas. And it's much better than a normal unsharp masking, what gets a lot of artifacts. And that's the main problem for usual algorithms for sharpening. And this plugin is really good. But for this solar eclipse image, I used the techniques of which used this plugin. That was in 2017. But it's very time consuming to use a lot of layers, hours, so 1 or 2 hours to try it and to find the best fit of it. And then with the plugin, it's very easy to get very quick results also for this kind of objects, also for daylight objects. I mean, it's like a bridge, a solar eclipse image to daylight because, it's bright. These are very large structures and so on. Yeah.
So Tom and Sebastian, you both, as a very early adapter of APF-R, of the method from Christoph, even before I met Christoph and before we were able to make a plugin, you know the pain and how much pain it is to apply it manually. People who did it manually, I think, are the best people to understand how much effort it takes and how big the advantage is. But maybe Christoph, unfortunately we have not the corona image here in full resolution, and in Instagram it's maybe a little bit compressed like Tom says why he made the app. But maybe I think Christoph, you have also an image with some clouds which have similar fine structures where you can show the method again and illustrate what does it mean keeping the structures without artifacts.
So this is also a high contrast image of a good camera, a good lens. So Sebastian also said it always depending on the scene quality. And so you have to adapt APF-R. I just showed before how this procedure walked through. And I just prepared here the first result of APF-R. I'll turn it just a moment. I go in and it's always necessary that you start with the blur mode at 100 or 200% zoom mode. And now I turn APF-R on. You can see it brings out the structure.
Yeah.
It's not over sharpening anything. So it's really, really a soft focus. And what's interesting with the plugin, I saved this APF-R layer. If I open the APF-R plugin, I can see the different rendering modes. I choose the third one. So now inside APF-R, the 15 layers are different, calculated to each one that Photoshop is measuring the dynamic, the histogram, and then it's fitting to. So if I turn it off, it's getting more harder. You can see it. And this is the result with Photoshop calculated with the histogram. So you can bring out really before and after. And you can really walk through. And if you go here to horizon and I turn it off and on, so it brings out the structure of every detail. It's not calculating noise. And a lot of colleagues, they're using APF-R and they're using some panels or mosaics in astrophotography. They have seen after sharpening the border and the edges of the panels again. So APF-R is really digging for structure without any AI. So then I go to original one here. So this also shows that APF-R now recalculating. So you can really choose the rendering method. And a lot of people ask me, because these results look different, because each rendering have a different kind of calculation combining these methods. And sometimes it's looking more hard or softer than other things. So you can really choose, like here, the rendering you like to have for your result. If we go up here, see all the structures with APF-R, without APF-R, it looks like this. So it's bring out the contrast and optimize everything. And then I prepared something also from daylight. It's this is for me like dynamic range and something with aeroplane. I take a photo with a good camera, good lens. So develop the final image, turn it just off, and also prepared the APF-R blurring 1.0, fine APF-R adapting mode 1.0 and rendering mode 3. So this is the image, looks good, 100%. Then I zoom in to 200 and turn on the APF-R result. So this is now with APF-R. There's some structure coming here, like this, before and after. It's not destroying, it's not creating noise. But what I really like is to play with the APF-R layer. It also can use with deep sky images. I adapt here now because I have a smart object. I use here the camera raw filter of Adobe. And then you can see the luminance information because APF-R is calculating luminance layers. So this is the view we have already seen in the Photoshop. And then I hit here auto. So I adjust the APF-R layer with auto correction. It looks a little bit bright, so I adjust a little bit the exposure. Then I open the black like this and say here, okay, you can also adjust structure and clarity, everything to the APF-R, but when I show here, click. So APF-R shows now with 200% is without APF-R and with APF-R. So it shows a lot of more structure. It's not destroying edges or creating noise. And what's also interesting is that I zoom out here, show like this. To optimize this APF-R layer to fit to the image, you can build a mask or something else. I usually double click on the layer styles, and then the method, go from normal to subtraction. So I can really see where APF-R is working. And if I'm using the black slider here, I'm moving it to the right. And I can see there's something structure is coming. So this is the point. Everything what is now black is not used. So this APF-R is full. So I reduce it a little bit. And then I hit the Alt key and make a small fade to this. And then I also go to the bright, so I can see it. Okay, APF-R, it's not sharpened, it's not used. Then I click here to the Alt and make it so soft, like this. And then you go back to normal and say here, okay. So my APF-R layer of 15 sub-layers calculated with the Camera Raw plugin. Do this. We have just start here, 100%, get to 200, like this. This is without APF-R, and this is with APF-R.
Yeah.
It brings out a lot of stuff. You can make a transparency fade. You can do everything that you get the perfect result. Also here, the small structure before and after. And then we can go here. You can see here every structure really brilliant and without. So you can use APF-R for daylight and for every kind of macro images. A friend of mine is using micrometeorites and taking images and using APF-R for sharpening. So this is a step into the future that you can use APF-R also with a camera raw filter and bring out the smallest structures. So it's very comfortable. It's not destroying. It's not overshadowing. Not creating. If you use it correctly, no destroyed edges or shadows or like this. So I think that's an interesting way to use or to sharpen image. And I think for my style, it's not looking over sharpened. If I turn it off, this is before, and this is after. I think it's a really nice result.
Yeah,
Very
very
good.
impressive. Can you open the plugin maybe again?
Yes.
So if I'm a beginner and I want to start, sharpening images or want, not like this AI making one prompt and everything is finished. I want to care about one image, make it better, grow my channel, and so on. What is the first steps if you're not familiar with the plugin? I would say choosing the right radius, like we said, only slightly blurry. Then pressing the sharpen button, then choosing the right method or adaptation mode, and then it's just up to your taste and the image, right? And in the end, it's you have to maybe post process it like you want. So maybe you are finished, or maybe you want to paint out areas which should not be affected, or like Christoph said with the blend if layer, choose some brightness areas where it's not applied. Okay.
I think Sebastian or also Tom can really say they need some time to get the I call it the feeling for the APF, how you should blur it or not blur it. So Sebastian,
how much images did it took until you were familiar, or did you when you got a feeling how much radius, which rendering method is best? Is it after the first 10 images or the first 100 images?
Well, for me, it was the first few images. It was really quick, and that's the thing that I love about the plugin. It's so simple to use, and I think actually it opens up a different a conversation in respect of it's how the hobby is going. This taps into that simplification of acquiring images, for example, and processing images. Like I said before, I'm a heavy PixInsight user, but the learning curve with that is huge. And what I do now is I stop before I sharpen my images in PixInsight and then bring them into APF-R. And then I play around with it in there and kind of finish it off in Photoshop. And that works really well for me. So it took me about maybe 10, 12 images to get used to the blurring radius. But once I got used to that, then that kind of works fine for me, really.
Okay.
Sebastian, what is your?
Yeah, I mean, I really love this plugin, and it depends how the seeing quality is. So when I took images of planet Mars, it's oversampled, and then I use higher radius, like here, and maybe 8 or something like this. It depends, but you can get very quick, good results with this APF-R. Yeah.
So the radius is something you have to get the feeling for, because then the calculation takes a long time, or not a long time compared to the manual method. But after that, the adaptations later, you can more or less trial and error. If you are a beginner and not know what's happening, you just toggle through the 7 steps and tweak it until you're happy. And also you can reduce the layer opacity a little bit, or open it in Adobe Camera Raw, like Christoph showed, or make a mask over it to mask the sharpening. So if you have an area of the image you want to apply it, in an area you want to avoid it, there are plenty of options, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just add one thing as well? So I've tried it with my data with anything from maybe 6 to 50 hours worth of image data. And actually, even with that 6 hour master stack, it still works incredibly well. Obviously,
Yeah.
the more data you have, then obviously the better it's going to be as a plugin. But even with 6 to 8 hours as a master image, it still works incredibly well, Christoph.
Yeah.
So hats off to you.
Thank you. No, it was really surprising, and the same when it was returned from the Hubble Space Telescope team when I sent them. It takes a year of what I'm not was waiting for, and then the email arrived, and then yeah, that's just a very special moment. You can see
Yeah.
it again, so it looks it brought out a little bit three-dimensional. So I think it
Mm.
also very useful for daylight images, not only for deep sky.
Mm.
And Sebastian, your Corona is amazing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
okay.
yeah, if you enjoy it, I think Christoph has also a 25% voucher code for you. Christoph,
Yes.
if you want to share it. Yeah, think half an hour is over since 6 minutes. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Hope it was fun to watch. I learned a lot about you and your images and your channels and the app and everything. Yeah, thank you everyone, and have a nice day. And yeah, maybe we leave the key, the voucher code for.
Oh, just sorry.
And maybe turn it on for a few seconds. So if
Yes,
you are
just a
sitting out
moment.
there and have not written down, maybe take your
Okay.
mobile phone and take a photo of it so you can remind later. It's APF-R webinar 0626. It's like June 26.
Yes.
I think everybody should have a photo now from this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. See you the next time. Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.